Hello everyone, I'm Destiny and this is Demi, and we are two of the D&I ambassadors, and today we're going to be interviewing Alex Ruddock, who is a co-founder of Portsmouth BLM, and she's also been nominated for the Inspirational Women Awards. And we're just going to be chatting with her, asking her some questions about her political activism. So yeah. First question.
Okay, so what provoked your interest in political activism?
I think I would say that since having my daughter, I realised I suffered with racism as a kid, but didn't really know how it affected me until I saw how it affected my daughter, and then knew that I needed to make a change with her and for her. So primarily it was my daughter, but also then obviously the BLM uprising and George Floyd's murder was a massive, I think for me, because I always saw things happening to the people in my community. I always knew that it was happening, but when George Floyd was murdered and it was so public, I knew that like it needed to stop, and I needed to make some decisions to make sure that I was trying to change the narrative.
Yeah, that's really good. So what would you say your experience has been as a Black woman in terms of political activism? So what has the response from the community been, from your friends and family, all of that?
We'll start with the positive. So I'll say that from like my friends and family, it's been really supportive. It's been good. I don't think anyone expected me to go into this channel, but also a lot of people say like they never saw me to find my niche until this is like what I got involved in. So it's been really positive from that side. I would say that Black women, I mean, women in general get a lot of stick anyway for whatever they do. So to be a Black woman, it's 10 times the problem, because you know, there's so many problems in this world, and people don't like women to have a voice. A lot of people, particularly I would say in Portsmouth, don't see race to be an issue. I get a lot of this, it's not a UK problem, it's a US problem. Why are you fighting battles that are not here? And a lot of it is in education, I would say, in terms of my daughter, that the school framework, the teachers and things are all white, so they don't realize the small things. They don't realize the hair touching, the continuous, microaggressions. They think that like if a child says poo, for example, then it's not because of their skin color. If someone will draw my daughter and then they'll draw a piece of poo and then say that looks like you, Nala, and they don't see that as being. I'm like, look at how many things in this world are brown, but the kid is only drawing a piece of poo, so I think in terms of who you're talking to, it's very different. When the uprising happened of BLM and I was seen at the first protest and Nala made the newspaper, the amount of comments from people in Portsmouth on that newspaper article were hideous. Like, you would never, I mean, forget that we were in a pandemic at the time. To me, racism is a pandemic, and they're just as equal. We were doing everything safely, but there were still comments like social services need to be involved because I'm bringing her out fighting a problem that's not even here. Not to mention that my daughter faces racism. So I think from the people, it's always going to be positive because people see their problems, right? But the community or the people in Portsmouth don't always see it or brush it off.
Just a side note from that then, you say that people usually see the problems and are positive. Would you say that you've had any encounters with people maybe sort of like peripheral friends that have been either surprising to you or have like not been as positive? Because obviously there's always people that can't seem to see the problems.
Yeah, 100%. I've got one time that really like shed some light to me. I remember when George Floyd was murdered, and it all just got a bit much for me. I was just like, I'm seeing these stories day in, day out, and people just brushing them off. It's not talked about. And then I remember I never ever do videos on my Instagram page, but I was like, do you know what? I did a video and I was in tears. I was like, I need to tell people that, like, if you're not supporting me, if you're not you don't need to protest, but I'm saying like these things like signing petitions, protesting, talking about racism. If you're not doing that, I don't want to be a part of it, and I don't want to bring my daughter up to be with people like that. And instantly, one of my friends I would say we were friends for 5 years, maybe. We started working together and we were really close. Instantly, she just unfollowed me and deleted me off everything. And I only noticed because I needed to go and see something. So I was like, what? Why can't I find her? So I messaged her and said, like, is everything okay? And she basically came back and said, you put up a post saying that if I'm not protesting and I'm not signing petitions, then I'm racist. And I said, no, I didn't say that. I said, if you're not doing those things, you're not my people. So I'm not calling you racist. I'm just saying that's not people that I want to be around my daughter. Now, the person I'm talking about has got a child as well. So I said to her, I put it in her perspective. I said, listen, if you were out with my daughter and you were in a play center and someone called my daughter a racial term, would you stand up for my daughter? And she couldn't answer the question. She said, that wouldn't happen. So I was like, you know what, it's absolutely fine. That's all I need to know, because, you know, I want to feel like with my people that I'm safe, and actually losing people like that actually is a benefit to me, because if it's not going to keep me and my daughter safe, I don't want to be a part of it. That's just one example. Of course, there's been lots of people. I've had lots of arguments with lots of people that say, you know, it's not like, again, they're against, I think it's being a mum. I think like you make your decisions as a mum and what you think is safe, right? I wouldn't bring Nala into a situation that wasn't safe. So the first protest I ever went to, and all of them actually, I scope out before I turn up 30 minutes before. I make sure I know an exit route if anything went bad. If it started to get rowdy, I'd leave. One of the protests actually that happened in Portsmouth, something went off at the back of the Guildhall, and someone said it was a milk bottle. I wasn't sure it was a milk bottle, but whatever it was like, it sounded like a bomb, and something went up into the sky. And I was like, someone's done that deliberately, but my daughter didn't like it, obviously. It's worrying. So she was like, can we go home? And I literally just took her straight out of the situation. I'm not here to put her in, you know, I want her to feel safe and I want to be in safe environment. So, but again, you will lose people along the journey, no matter what you do. Even if I was a fashion model, you know what I mean? You will always lose people, because people don't always support what you do.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, well, what issues would you say you are most passionate about campaigning and advocating for?
Obviously, generally just anti-racism, but more that like in the education system, that there needs to be more in the education system, from as little as books that have representation of Black women and Black children. Even when I went to school, I don't remember seeing any Black figures. I remember hearing about Martin Luther King, quite vague, but you know, like for me, we learn a lot in school about Henry VIII, a man who killed like all of his, like, why are we looking up to people like that? Like, and why are we learning about, obviously this is history, I get that, but there's also a lot of history in our communities that we can learn about that's positive. So I would say definitely education, but also just unifying all of these marginalized groups, LGBTQ, like all of the groups, they need to come together. So I think it's really hard to say like a specific thing that if I had 1 million hours a day, I would do it all. But really, truly, I would say education, definitely.
So what is one thing that you would say that is particularly important to you, you wish people knew, whether that be about you personally or any of the issues that you campaign and advocate for?
I wish people would know the reality of racism and how much it stays with you and affects you for your whole life. That the encounters that I have of people being racist to me as a kid, I've never forgotten them, and it was like they were yesterday. The hair touching. I used to have my hair in braids when I was at school, and my mum used to braid it, and when they were in braids, my hair was really springy. And people used to literally walk past and go ding dong and pull my hair. And I didn't think anything of it until one person walked past my hair and did. I'd never know who was doing it because it was always from behind. But someone did it and pulled out one whole plait out of my hair, had a bowl patch in my head. And the bowl patch, I didn't matter, but it was the fact that people are doing these things so subconsciously, just like it's a normal thing. Like, and it truly does stay with you. I think I would like people to know that BLM to me is not political. My life is not political, and that we're only campaigning for equality. We're not campaigning to be better than anyone. We're just campaigning for the same things, to be treated the same as any other person. And that, you know, like if you go for a job interview, you shouldn't, just because you've got a name that you can't pronounce, you shouldn't be seen to be any different, or just because you walk in and your skin color, you know, or, you know, your let's say your not legal status, like your immigration, like because you haven't lived here your whole life, that should go against where you go. If English isn't your first language, so the politicalness is one thing. BLM to me is not political at all. I don't know how people can suggest that it is political, because we're just fighting a battle that it is our reality, to be honest.
Yeah. You've been nominated for the Inspirational Women's Award. Who inspires you?
It's a good question. I would say in my life, I would say, not, I don't know if you can call someone younger than you, but Nala really inspires me, because she deals, I would say, with these things at her age better than I probably could. She makes me want to do better, because I want to ensure that in her life she doesn't have to go through the things that I've been through, and I probably also haven't had to go through a lot that a lot of Black women have had to go through. But also, I don't want her to have to work 10 times harder just to get the same as her white counterpart. So definitely her, but also my best friend. My best friend lives in Portsmouth. I've known her for, let me say, 14 years, and she's just been my rock throughout the whole thing. She's been my absolute rock. She's dealt with her own problems, her own health issues, and all the while through it, she's been probably the biggest support to the campaign. If I need anything done in terms of like visual infographics or anything for social media, she's on it. She'll drop everything for me and my daughter. So definitely her, definitely.
Well, that's all the questions that we have for you today, but thank you so much for answering them, and keep doing all the great work that you're doing, and congratulations on your award, and we've really enjoyed speaking with you today.
Oh, thank you.